Welcome to another design tutorial. My name is Janice and today we are going to learn how to design a weekly planner printable in InDesign and how to spice up your design by incorporating a few clip art elements into your design. Now let's get started. So what we have here is some elements open up in Illustrator, but before we get into that, how I usually get inspiration or ideas is through Pinterest. So we'll just open up Pinterest and I usually type weekly planner and it brings up a whole bunch of weekly planner printables. Now the goal here is not to copy their design but to just get some ideas and inspiration from it. Now as you can see, this is pretty simple. I think it's quite good, but I think we could make it better. This is from, I'm not sure, pauspetty.files.wordpress.com. So we'll just use her printable and we'll take that as a starting ground. Okay, so we don't, the goal here again is not to copy their design but to get some ideas from it. So what we could do is definitely the title, and then we'll probably incorporate the Monday to Sunday boxes, and then we can put up the maybe 3 top goals for the week and a to-do list. Maybe we'll scrap the habits. So let's get into it. So I would like to design this printable in InDesign. So I'll open up my InDesign and click create new. Sizes in A4. A4 size is 297 by 210 and I would like it to be landscape. Alright, so nails, we'll keep it nails and we just click create, and this will give us a page of an A4 landscape size. And before we create, we'll just make sure that the margins are properly set up. Okay, we're gonna go to layout, margins and columns, and for A4 I usually like to keep my margins on the top and bottom. I would probably, because this is where the holes are going if you're going to put it in your binder, so we'll want to make sure there's enough space on the top and at the bottom. So we will probably put 15 at the top and 15 at the bottom, and well, in the inside and outside, which is here and here, we'll just put it 14. So let's preview. That's good enough. That's good enough for me. Okay, so we go to first putting our title. So we'll probably put the weekly planner using this element here. There are 2 ways to put the elements into InDesign. You can either open up your clip art images. I'll just go through the elements and you can go to PNG files. Okay, you can either click and drag into, click and drag into and place into InDesign itself. Okay, we'll just zoom out, Control minus or Command minus if you're using a Mac, which is this. Okay, that's one way. I wouldn't want to spend more time on that, but a different way is opening up a EPS file, and EPS is usually used in you can only open up in Illustrator. So we'll go to elements and decorative elements, colors and EPS, and you can just double click and it opens up into Illustrator. So the reason why I like to do this instead of dragging in a PNG file is because when you open up in EPS into AI, it will stay as a vector graphic. So no matter how you scale, the size will stay the same. But if PNG, there's a limit to its size, and whenever you try to scale it down or up, sometimes the picture might get distorted and you can see the pixelated image on your page, which is not very good. So I like to keep my graphics clear and crisp. I hope you understand what I mean. So what I'll do is I'll copy. Okay, that's Control C or Command C, and copy and paste. Okay, so it will be like this. So this is our margins. Okay. So at the moment we are previewing using the it's a lower scale preview, which is not very good resolution, but if you want a better resolution, you can click over print view. Okay, it gives you a much crisper viewing. And if you do, sometimes you have bigger files, you turn this off so that when you zoom in and out, it will not take too long to load up your images. So what I'll do is I'll just keep it to over print view because I like my image to be clearer, and I like to lock this clip art, which you go to right click and lock, or Control L or Command L. Okay, and we like to put a weekly planner title on top here. So what we can do is first we type out the text. Okay, in InDesign, hover your mouse over T and then create a box, alright, and type weekly planner. You could make this image, make this text bigger, and then we could change the text to a nicer font. Let's choose Alphabet Pony. Okay, so I don't want this long thingy, so what I'll do is I'll just click here and click here. Alright, as you highlight, it just gives you this option to choose. You can choose without the actual glyphs. I don't know how you call that, the curvy lines. Okay, so what we'll do is next we'll hover onto pen tool. We click one here to one here. So we want to put the text around this part. Okay, so and then I'll click this using the selection tool, and we'll go into your text and highlight and copy, Control C or Command C, and we'll go let me just see. I want to put my text along this line, so I'm just looking. Oh, okay, type on path tool. Okay, just click that and then hover on to this text, and it gives you that little thing there, and you can just copy. Alright, so that's how you do it. And then you can adjust by just trying to see how am I going to do this. It will just be closer a bit for you guys to see what I'm doing. Okay, so make sure your little mouse hover onto this line here and just adjust to the position that you like. Alright, just zoom out. Just do it by eye. Okay, you don't want this line here, so we can always turn this off. Click on the line and go here and click none. Alright, so let's try again. I like it like that. Yeah, I think it looks good. We can always make the text bigger, or maybe 30. Oh, that's too big. What about 30? That's too. Let's just try. Oh, it's too big, eh? Let's just try again. Yep, 26 or maybe 28. Yep, perfect. I like this, 28. Okay, so I'll just delete this because we've done what we needed to do. Just eyeball it in the center, and then maybe just a little bit of a nudge there. I think it's perfect. You can also change the text if you want it, prefer it on white if it's not standing out as much. Let's see what does it do. Nah, I think what we had earlier was better. Okay, so that's really good. We've done with that. Next, we can think about the boxes on the, let me just open this. We're going to do the 7 column of boxes. So we'll do it across instead of vertical like this. I don't quite like the way she does this because you sort of have to tilt your head at the side. But that's alright, we're going to improve that. So we are just going to use, let me just have a look. First, before we could do that, we'll use a type tool, okay, hover and click on it, and then we'll draw a bound box across like this. Okay, you can be maybe like this as well. And then we could go to table, insert table. So how many rows we want? Probably 2 rows and 7 columns. We can always increase that afterwards. Okay, so this is pretty good. Or just like this, and alright, so we could put the dates here. To change the, I personally don't like it to be too thick, because in my experience when I do print out, if the thickness of the line is too thick, you get smudges around the page, and I don't really like, and also you use more ink as well, so I like to keep it down to 0.5 or 0.25. 0.5 would be a little bit thicker, but it's not that thick, and you can see that the lines are around here are thinner than the ones inside. So to do that is to highlight the whole thing, table options, it's option strokes and fills, okay, and keep the weight to 0.5. Okay, that will bring both the lines outside and inside to be a thinner stroke. Okay, so it depends on what your preference. Some people like to start off with Sunday, some people like to start with Monday. I personally like to start with Monday, so just type in, okay, and tap. When you tap, it goes to the next column. And Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So we like to put it in the middle, so we highlight everything, and then we can put center and center. Alright, and then we can change the text again to Batman book, and then we'll change it to maybe 18. Yep, maybe it's a little bit too bold. Maybe we'll keep it as a regulars. It's not too bold. Yep, that's nice. Okay, so that's one way. And then what we're gonna put in is, let me just go through this one here. Okay, so this week's top 3 goals. Okay, so we'll put top 3 goals. We'll create a different column, a different box. Okay, we'll just use the type tool. Alright, and put here, put an insert table. We'll maybe put, how many columns do we want? 1 column and 2 rows. Yep. Okay, and then we are going to decrease the stroke. Go to the end, also here, go to cell options, stroke fields, go to 0.25, 0.5, okay, and then we could adjust and adjust like this. Okay, so we can always copy this and tap out here. We could put here in the middle. Yep. So top 3 goals this week. Then we could use different elements. We'll go back. What we can use is we can use this cute little circle. Okay, just copy and paste. Just make sure you use your selection tool. Click here and then copy. Paste. And then use your shift and control key, and you bring and scale it down. Did I do it right? Let's try again. We'll just shift and control, you'll scale it. Okay. Alright, so we'll do the first one first. Okay, oops. So you need to press control and shift, if not it will not scale it to the right size. Okay, and then you'll use this line tool and press shift to create a straight line. Yeah, if you don't press shift, it will be like this. So if you press shift, it will straighten for you automatically. Okay, and then we want to create this, we want to be thinner, so 0.5 will be good. So now I will teach you a shortcut on how to do this. Top 3 goals. Okay, maybe you want 2 lines for this. Okay, just like this. Alright, that's your first goal. Oops, and select this. Okay, so what you do is select this, press shift and select these 2 lines, and then you put Control G to group it, or Command G, and then you click your Alt key, so it's ALT, the Alt key. Alright, and this cursor will change, and then you click, alright, and press shift to duplicate. Alright, and then if you want to do another duplication on the bottom, instead of doing that again, you can just click Control Alt Shift D. Alright, so if you do that, it will just duplicate and duplicate. Okay, that's how you just shorten. This is just a few shortcuts I thought would be good for you to know, so you don't have to waste too much time recreating again and again. So because you only need top 3 goals this week, you probably only need 3, right? So we'll just delete this other 2. Okay, since because there's a lot of space, we'll just do 3 lines. So just double click in, and again Alt to change the cursor. Oops, Alt and then Shift. Alright, and then when you click out again, double click out, it becomes, that's not, just did not work now, did it? Okay, so we have to ungroup it. Go to right click, ungroup, and then we'll select again, Shift to select, Control G, and then use your Alt key again and select and press Shift. Okay, and then again to duplicate again is Control Shift Alt and D for donkey. Alright, okay, so what we can do is just to Make sure it's sort of in the middle. You can just eyeball it, that's fine. Okay, so top 3 goals this week. And then we can do something at the bottom. Let me just have a look. What was it that we wanted to do? We wanted to do a to-do list, right? Okay, so we can bring this right at the bottom. So there's lots and heaps of space for you to write for the week. And I always like that, to have extra note space, you know. Sometimes you have lots to do in a day. Okay, what I'm doing right now is I'm selecting the whole thing. I want to make this whole thing bigger. So you select the whole thing and click Control Shift. Control Shift, and then to scale it into size. Okay, if you don't do it, the whole thing will not be at the same size. Okay, so we'll just put this in the middle. Control G to group it, and then under here, make sure this is aligned to page. So we'll make sure that's aligned in the middle. And if you want to look at it without that borders around, that border is very good for it as a guideline, so you know where to so that it's within the page. And then and then we'll do a to-do list underneath here. So you can either do this, just split up a bit like that. Oops. So make sure your actual table is up. Okay, so just select and bring this up here. Yep. Okay, and you want to do this too. So what I did was I select, press Alt and Shift. Okay, so I select the whole thing, just this part, and then Alt Shift, and then bring it down, and let go. And that's how you duplicate. And then maybe bring this down here. So because we're going to do a to-do list for the week, it will give you. And let's say you don't want to see this bounding box, you want to see the whole page without the bounding box. What you do is Control semicolon, alright, the part that is like it's like semicolon like that, I think. Alright, just let me just increase that for you so you know what I'm talking about. So Control semicolon to remove the bounding box, and Control semicolon again to reveal it again. So if I want to see without the bounding box, you can do that. This thing doesn't look like in the middle anymore. What we could do is to center this title within this table itself. Okay, click here and Shift and click this table, and then make sure you go to here, align to selection, and then you click align center. Okay, so we'll just delete this for now. So if you have a look, turn this on again. Yep, that's good. I'll just turn it off, and then we'll put here to-do list for the, just put to-do list. All right, and we could do a different element for this. Maybe just okay. Now to ungroup, you can actually Control Shift G, or you can right click and click ungroup. Okay, let me see, we'll try a different element. We'll see in Illustrator and see what we can do. I'm actually looking for a heart shape, but just see, let me just have a look. Flower colors, PNG. Oh, we can do a flower shape too. Okay, so maybe we can use this one here. So we'll just go to EPS, double click on it. That PNG file is very big, so if I open the EPS file, it's much smaller. And because you use the EPS file, like I said, it's vector graphic. When you do copy, so you Control C and click here on the blank page and then Control V. See, it's much smaller. If I bring in the PNG, you can still use it. It's just really big and you need to sort of like scale it down, so you don't want to, I'm just a bit lazy. So you could do a graphic element like this one here. Shift, okay, Shift or Control Shift or Shift. Okay, and maybe you want to put a bit longer, and you can Control G to group it, and then Alt, okay, click on that key and change the cursors will change, and then you select Shift. All right, and then if you want to duplicate, Control Alt Shift and D. So Control Shift Alt and D to duplicate. Okay, oops, we're getting ahead of ourselves there. Alright, so what we could do is to select this, right, Shift to unselect the border and then just bring it up, just eyeball it. Yep, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's a little bit too close. Now I'm a big fan of not putting things too close around the border. It doesn't look really good for your graphics, because sometimes if you have some breathing room around like this, you have enough space, you actually can see the whole graphic better. So now I find this is too close. So what I do is I'll select this whole thing first, or you can do the select this whole thing and Shift to unselect the table, and then I put Control Shift and then I scale it down. Okay, and that will give me a little bit of breathing room to see, so you can actually see the whole graphic better. Okay, so that's one of those ways, those tips and tricks that you can learn. We'll just select this and Control G, and then select this, and then make sure it's aligned to selection, and try to align center. Okay, I think we are basically done. So it's a very simple weekly planner, and if you do want to spice things up a little bit more, another way you can do it is putting a background pattern. Now, how you can do this, I like to keep this. I like this simple one here, but if you want to give another option, so what you can do is click onto this part here, and then drag it down to duplicate your page. Okay. And what we could do is to find a pattern. Let me just have a look. Elements. We'll just go to the patterns, and we'll see a number of selection here. For background, I don't mind using the actual pattern image, because first of all, they are big in size, so it probably able to cover the whole page. And second of all, if you do open a EPS file in Illustrator, you'll probably, when you try to copy and paste into InDesign, I don't know why, somehow the file is like super big. So for background, I don't mind putting just a PNG file. image. Okay, so what I really like is because I have the purple banner here, so I'll choose this flowery banner, flowery pattern. So one way is to click and drag into here. A different way is to go through file and place, and then you can place your image. Okay, you can find the folder that you want, but I always have this open, and it's easier for me to just drag in. All right, then just, yep. So look at this, how big this image is. Very, very big. So I'm just zooming it out, so that's like control minus, and then control shift, and then scale it down. So make sure to put control shift before you scale it down. If you try to click and do control shift, it will not work. All right, okay, so there's two ways to, because this is a seamless pattern, what I mean here is you can actually put two images side by side and the pattern flows. For example, I'll just show you an example. So I control shift to just get it towards the size of the height of the page, and then alt shift and put it side by side like that, and you will notice the image actually flows because if you Julia Dreams is one of my favorite illustrators, and professional illustrators, they know what they're doing in terms of creating patterns. So you can actually put side by side image like that, and to get a seamless pattern like that. So in order to, you just want to group this, Control G, and then you can either keep it as it is, or you can align to page. All right, and you want this pattern to be behind your text and all that. So what you can do is control shift, sorry, we have to select this first, and control shift behind. I don't know what's that key called. I'll just write it down here, this key. Okay, so control shift and this key, make sure you select the image first, and then control shift using this key will bring the background behind your text and your clip arts and whatever. Okay, so and because this is see-through, you want this whole thing to be in a white background. So you can select the whole thing and put paper. Right, and the same thing with here, just select the whole thing, paper, and select the whole thing, paper. Okay, that's another way you can do it. So if you do want to mask this background to the actual size of the page, what you could do is clicking this rectangle frame, okay, and then putting it to its size, right, like that. And then what you do is you use the selection tool, click on your image, Control X or Command X, and then click inside that bounding box you just put on top, and right click and put paste into, and it will place into that bounding box that you've just put on top. Now the same thing again is to Control Shift and that key that I told you about, and then that will bring your background image behind. This is how you actually spice up your design and to make your design stand out from the rest. And because you can see this image, it's sort of like, it's quite bright and it's sort of drowning this banner, right? So you want this weekly planner banner to stand out. So select this, and you want to do maybe a drop shadow. How to do that is, let me just have a look here. How am I gonna do this? I think it's effects, Windows, under let me just have a think. Oh, is it in wait, effects? Yes, this part here. Okay, now to get this box, sometimes you have to either go to Windows and click effects here, and it will bring out this box. Okay, so to do that, we'll just do this, and oops. Okay, so click on this this box here, and then effects, drop shadow. Okay, it gives you an option to preview. Okay, you can do that, and maybe bring it down to 50% to 50, and then you could maybe put smaller, maybe 1 mil. You don't want it to be too dark. You want a bit subtle. Okay, you want to keep it subtle. Not sure what is this, but alright, just leave this on and click OK. Alright, this is how you could do it. Another way is to increase the border size around the table. So I'll click this. Oops, I'll just click this table, and then I increase it to maybe 2 mils. Sometimes when you do that, your table gets lost, so what you do is just bring it down, and here you go, much better. Yeah, just increase that so you can actually look, and then inside you could maybe put 1 mil on the table, cell options, stroke and fills, and go to 1 mil. Try that. Okay, now the only reason why I increased that border is because you have a very dark image, bright image, and it might stand out more than your actual table. So that's the only reason why I would increase the border. If not, I'll just leave it as is. Now I'll just have a look. It's not as what I would like. Oh, this is too dark. Maybe 2 mils. Again, select the whole thing first, and then put to 2 mils. And then the color, I would like to bring it down. Okay, just bring it down to maybe 80. Okay, and then you can do this the same. Okay, so that's 2 mils, and we'll put it to 80. Right. Change the table cells as well. 2 mils, and we'll keep it this black. To 2 mils, and we'll pivot to 80%. Alright. There you go. Much better. Now we'll use this other tool, which is also very useful. Now because there's grouping, right? And sometimes you want to not to ungroup it, and you just want to select this lines without ungrouping it. You can use this direct selection, and what it does is you can actually directly click onto your elements in itself without ungrouping your objects. So you can do this. Oops. You can do like this, and shift like this. and then what you do is you click here to unselect the table, so it's not selecting the table itself. Yeah, so you just want these lines, and you want to change the lines to a thicker stroke. So I'll do a 1 mil. Yep, and we can put the 10 to 80%. Oops, and press enter. Yep, that's all you do. You can also put your website, and how you can do this is, instead of putting individual page by page, you could always go to pages up here, go to under master page, double click in master page, and you want to look at the border. So again, control semicolon to reveal the border lines, sorry, the margin lines, and then you go to T, your type tool, right, and I'll put your website. I'll put the Backman 12 or 14, maybe 18, or we'll just put 14, and then we can space out the text. So select it and press Alt and right arrow. It will help to space out your text like that. And then you want to put this right in the middle, so select it and then press align center, and make sure you are selecting align to page so that this is in the middle. Okay, and then we'll just duplicate it. Right, so that's Alt and Shift. Right, and then once you click out, and how to click out is to just click on the first page. It will automatically add your website below. Okay, now you can see that this is not happening because there's an image that's behind it, that's on top of the master page. So you have to add this manually here. So what you do is just go inside master page, click here and copy, and go to your second page and paste in place, which is right click and paste in place. Okay, and you want this to be a white border, so we could do the click on here and select it, or maybe not, we'll want to do a white background. Okay, and then we could do align center, and we don't want to, we probably have to, there you go. Okay, like this, just like that, and make sure it's aligned to page. So okay, and oh yes, you can also put a link. This link is clickable to your web page. So what you do is click on your text and right click and put hyperlinks, new hyperlink, and type in your website. Okay, so I'll just copy because I want to do it for the master pages. Okay, the beauty of having master pages is that when you do this once, it just applies to the whole pages. Like if you do have maybe 10 or 11 and 12 pages, it would just automatically shows up on every page, and it just saves you lots of time. So we just put this hyperlink here. You only need to put once on your master page. So but right and left page is an individual page in itself, so you need to do this at the same time. Okay, so new hyperlink. Okay, so and you just click out. That's it. It's very simple and easy to do, and this is how you get your printable to stand out from the rest. Okay, so I've just double checked, and I think the stroke I've kept it at 1 point instead of 2, because I did a test earlier and I think it's too thick. Anyway, we'll just keep it as 1 point, and I can still see that the banner is still a bit drowning behind the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup it, and when you ungroup it, it just tells you that the shadow will be removed once you do that, which is fine. We can always put it back. So what we do is click on the direct selection tool. Alright, and then we'll use the eyedropper. We can put on here. Again, the direct selection tool, use the eyedropper. Okay, and then we'll click in here. We use the lighter option on top. Yep, so now you can see the weekly planner. It feels like I can actually read it much clearly right now. And then all I have to do is make sure you select both the text and the banner, and to group it again, and go to effects to get your drop shadow. Okay, so we'll put it down a bit, like to 1 mil, and should be fine. Yep, it's good. Okay, so that's all you have to do. And then we could go to File to export your file. Go to File and Export, and we'll put we'll name it as Weekly Planner. We'll save it into my downloads folder, and make sure you click to interactive. What it does is so that when you after you export it, when you hover onto your website, it will be a clickable link, and it will open up into your web browser. So we'll do that right now. We'll replace it. Yep, and we'll do. You can either choose. Page 1 or page 2. So you can either, if you put one or just want page 1, you just put 1, or if you just want page 2, you can just put 2. So but at this moment, I just want to export it both in one PDF file, and my compression, I'll just keep it as 300 dpi or ppi. I only do this when I have big image background like that. I want to keep the quality high, so when people do print out, it will give them a really good quality. But I usually will put like 72 dpi if there is no image background or any images. That will just keep the PDF low, which is and your quality will still remains. So just keep in mind of the resolution and JPEG quality. If you want to if you have lots of images inside your PDF, I would recommend just keeping the resolution at 300. But if you have no image, 72 dpi would be just fine. Okay, so we'll just compression general. This is all good. Just put export. So we'll just go to my downloads folder to check if everything looks okay. Yep, so this is the first page, and as you can see, because we've export it as a interactive PDF, I can able to click this and it will open up into my web browser. It's opening up to this one here. Okay, so it's fine. We'll just delete that, and we have a very nice option here for those who prefer a more colorful background, this is an option that they could print out instead. So I think it looks really good and I'm quite happy with it. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I know it can get a bit confusing at times, but once you know where things are, I can guarantee you it's easy as InDesign is a powerful software which you can create numerous designs, ebooks, individual pages. You can save individual images. You know, it's so easy to use and it's a very powerful software. So I encourage you to give it a try. There's a free trial for InDesign, and yes, if you like it, get onto the subscription, because I think it's going to be worth it. It's going to save you lots of time, and it's going to gives you numerous options out there to design as much as you want. So for those who enjoyed this tutorial, do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and remember to click the bell button for notifications of new tutorials. So we'll see you in our next tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this very much, and have a great day.